We just got this high-definition video.
Just looks like beautiful landscape to me. Whoa, you see that?
Uh-huh.
Back in 2006, there was an incident involving some kind of UFO.
People would call us about a strange light in the sky.
I don't know what it is, but it's not natural in our world.
How does this make any sense?
We need to get the field team on the ground in Brazil.
Yeah, everybody witnessed it. People got really panicked.
Really?
This is massive. Having an eyewitness is absolutely critical.
Whoa, that was insane.
It may well be the best evidence we've ever found.
Somebody saw this big light, but the difference is the victims weren't animals, they were humans.
People.
People.
Let's start with the data we have, right? We have a flight path. Let's throw it up on a map and take a look.
Good.
CIA veteran Mike Cole and conflict analyst Dr. Michael Livingston reviewed the findings from their field team in Montana, where on October 6, 2006, a former nuclear command post supervisor and CIA intelligence officer reported a UFO flying over the missile field under his watch, triggering 4 independent missile sensory alarms across a 100-mile path.
Well, the thing that fascinates me about this right away is we have 4 different sensors going off across 100 miles. So something external is setting off these individual sensors. Like, we're getting down to a very narrow range of possibilities, one of which would be an experimental drone, which is what the government says it is.
The experimental drone story, it doesn't make sense. The American military or our intelligence services would never fly aircraft over this sensitive a site. But let's even put that question aside. The average speed of a Predator drone is what? 100 miles an hour?
150, I think.
Okay. The most advanced civilian drone moves at 300 miles an hour. That's not moving at 600 miles an hour. How do you explain that?
Can we zoom in on this?
All right, let's take a look.
That is a house. That's a house. We do have residences close to the presumed flight path we're looking at here.
All right, if we have residences, that means we could have eyewitnesses.
Beyond the very good one we have already
Right.
of this event. He sees the sensor data. Maybe we've got something that's got eyes on whatever the hell is happening here.
Paul and Cal are already in the area. Let's do a complete ground survey. Let's knock on all these doors and see if there's anybody who saw something that could confirm what happened back in 2006.
The northernmost silo is just off to the northeast, so we're at the very top of the trajectory, right, that Andrew showed us. We'll just work our way south and see if anybody saw anything.
Yeah.
Investigative reporter Paul Beeben and Green Beret Intelligence Sergeant Kawa Male retraced the path through rural Montana of a possible UFO that set off alarm sensors on 4 nuclear missile silos.
Like that big house?
Yeah, let's try that place. There is a very clear, defined path between these 4 silos, and surely there are people who live along this path. So if something strange did happen back in the fall of 2006,
I don't think anybody's here.
maybe somebody witnessed it and can tell us what it was. All right, well, try the next place. No.
Nothing.
Yeah. Striking out again here. Just not a lot of people out here.
We got a couple of houses over there.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
All right, it's actually kind of a crazy story. Something triggered a series of sensors along 4 missile silos across a 100-mile path. Seen anything weird or strange?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. Have you ever heard of anything like that around here?
Sorry, I don't
Yeah.
anything.
Thanks for your time. We're chatting with a lot of locals, but no one seems to remember anything out of the ordinary. But this is just the beginning. We still have 90 miles to go. Let's see if we can get any answers.
All right, well, we've got a place here. Hopefully somebody's home.
Sorry to bother you. We're investigating something that happened around here way back in 2006.
Wasn't here then.
All right.
The only ones that would be here would be over there.
Okay, those folks have been here that long?
Yep. If you just come off this road and go straight up there, that house you can see, they've lived there forever.
We've got a lead now on somebody who may have seen something. It sounds like it's in the right time frame, so we've got to track this person down and see what they know.
Hey, Doc. Just got an email from a former colleague of mine from the intel community. His specialty is air surveillance. But you might want to see this. Came across a pretty incredible video. Taken in 2016, but he just got it. Shot by a guy named Jimmy Chappie, commercial drone operator in Beaver, Utah, which lies directly between Moab and the Nevada Proving Grounds. And the video itself is head-scratching, but he attached it for us.
Yeah, I'm seeing scrub trees, scrub oak.
This looks like beautiful landscape to me.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm sure your colleague sent this to you for a reason.
Whoa, you see that?
Scroll back to that if you can.
Here, I'll do it frame by frame. Look at that, levels out.
High bank, level out, high speed.
And it's gone. Could this be CGI?
If it's CGI, it's really good CGI.
Right. Well, looking at it in proportion to the trees, it's pretty small, right? It doesn't look like it's impacting the ground in any way. I see no thrust, I see no plume, I see no reaction in the foliage beneath it.
Well, except we don't have good distance on this to know exactly how far away this is. We also don't know the size of it. The
But look at
deception
it,
of
it's not
distance.
further away here, right? It's clearly moving across.
It's moving that way compared to our lens, right? The lens is flattening everything out. There's a lot of information we do not have here, but no sense of propulsion, white, kind of oblong shape. That's looking like the Nimitz report.
The drone-captured UFO video bears a striking resemblance to another case of interest in the investigation.
Look at that.
The 2004 USS Nimitz sighting, where one of the ship's fighter jets encountered a strange object in the sky, logged at an estimated speed of 2,400 miles per hour.
If anything biological would have been in that thing, it would have turned you into mush.
Right, that is very, very strange.
If this is not CGI, that looks really, really interesting.
Right. Let's send Nick and Sarah to Utah, see if they can find this Jimmy Chappie.
I'm hopeful that if there is a video, if it's of good quality and if we can verify it, then that could be major for this investigation.
Astrophysicist and space journalist Sarah Cruddas and U.S. Marine Intelligence Officer Nick Carnesi land in Salt Lake City, Utah, and head to the home of James Chappie, a man who claims he filmed a UFO on his drone camera in 2016.
James Chappie captured this encounter on video. I mean, this is huge. We need to learn the details of what he experienced and verify the authenticity.
The first thing to do really is just to hear this guy out, hear his story.
Hey, James.
Hi.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Nick.
Nick, nice to meet you. Come on in.
Thank you.
You guys want? We can just have a seat at the kitchen.
Sure.
James, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. We were told that you had an interesting encounter not too long ago, and we're just hoping that you could walk us through it and explain what happened that day.
I was out in Beaver, Utah, on October 19th, 2016, filming a bunch of B-roll for a documentary. We were done shooting and went back to my hotel room. I dumped all the footage off the cards onto my hard drive. And as I was dragging through the clips, I got to this one clip. And as I was fast forwarding through it, I just saw this like weird little blip, and it was enough to catch my eye. Just saw this really weird object fly right past the drone and just kind of smoke it right past us. It was going at a high rate of speed.
Can we take a look at it?
Yeah.
Great. I'd be interested to see.
Let's pull it up real fast. I'll take you to the clip. I'll let you watch it from there, but this is what I ended up seeing.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
It looks like it just is coming down and it makes a banking turn and it comes right by you.
Right.
Can we rewind that?
Yeah.
It's just literally just a split second though.
It's traveling so fast.
And what frame rate is this recording at?
We were shooting at 60 frames a second. So in a matter of 1 second, you can see how fast it travels through. And that was another thing that jumped out at me is, you know, I remember that day it was really windy, and you can see in the footage where the drone is, you know, kind of bouncing around, and it just seems to not be bothered by the wind whatsoever.
It's weird because it's almost a translucent, silvery, white, silvery.
Yeah.
It's just insane, isn't it?
You don't think it's possible that this is an optical illusion?
I don't. I've seen lens flares. I've seen birds, I've seen bugs, I've seen other drones, I've seen planes, I've seen everything, and to me, like, it was so different.
Is there any chance that this was tampered with before you reviewed it?
No, I'm the only one that had access to the cards. I would like to know what it is, you know?
If what I'm looking at is verified to be true, then this is pretty major. This is video evidence of something we cannot explain. And if this video is proved to be legit, then this is one of the most significant videos that I've seen in this investigation.
Would we be able to get a copy of this from you?
Sure.
And have it independently verified? That'd be great.
Do whatever you want. I'd love to hear the results.
Before we move forward, this needs to be analyzed by a forensic expert to determine the authenticity. But if it's real, this could be the greatest recording of a UFO ever captured.
This video is something which is potentially extraordinary, but we need to verify that using science.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really compelling video. So hopefully we can verify it.
Nick and Sarah arrange a meeting with video forensics expert Michael Primo to confirm the authenticity of a UFO captured on video in 2016.
Michael, the camera operator, James, he gave us a copy of the video.
Well, let's jump right into the preliminary analysis.
So if this video has been altered in any way, you're going to be able to determine that. You're going to be able to detect that. Is that right?
With forensic accuracy.
Okay, great.
Yeah, as we get over this ridge, it's going to come around and then swoop up past us.
Okay, let's see what we've got. Oh, wow. There it is. Wow. It's moving at a high rate of speed. I mean, as we track this frame by frame, what's interesting is it maintains a general shape. I would expect to see this a little bit more block-like or larger if someone did manipulate it. It being a high-definition video, it would take a high level of sophistication and expertise to be able to fake this type of motion blurring, to be able to blend that and be able to separate that from the clouds. It would take a lot of work to be able to fake something like that.
What's the next step in terms of verifying this?
The first step that we need to do is to create a sample, to compare the characteristics of how the camera behaves.
Okay, so that's essentially our control sample to compare.
That's our
it with.
control, exactly.
To create a sample, the team flies the exact drone model used by James Chappie. They'll compare their recording to the UFO video to detect any inconsistencies in the data.
So we're gonna push off, and I think our estimated altitude that the evidence was recorded at was about 40 feet.
Okay.
And we're gonna wanna mimic the actual movement of the evidence. So it appeared that it was kind of traveling or inching forward slowly just to get that cinematic view of the landscape.
All right, here we go. So what, 40 feet?
All right.
That looks about 40 feet.
The reason we're applying science to this video is because we want the truth. Is this video legit? Has it been doctored in any way? We don't know yet until we forensically analyze it.
Perfect.
You good?
Good. Let's get that SD card out of it and then go ahead and transfer the footage. Cool. That's it.
You good?
It's good.
All right.
Let's go hook her up. So now time to transfer this exemplar footage. But we've got the same order field of the GPS information.
What do you mean by that?
So the position of this GPS information in the metadata is consistent. Sometimes if GPS information has been manipulated, it may end up in the footer or the end of the file as an addition to the file. But in this particular case, it's in the same field or field order. Yeah, so digitally we are determining here how the camera behaves, how this file is created directly from that camera, and we're seeing more consistencies than inconsistencies. So we've got a consistent digital structure.
This is lending to the idea that it has not been modified.
This file has a consistent digital structure with what we would expect to come from a camera of this model or series.
So this is the first layer of verification.
Yes.
Now we're going to start doing a deep dive into the metadata and all these other things that the average person isn't aware of that is included in a video. And we're going to be able to determine quite confidently if in fact this is an authentic video.
Now that we've had a chance to preliminarily review the video, we can move on to the next step and dig deeper into the digital information testing, phase 2.
Great.
We're going to run the command line code. So we're going to begin parsing that, and that's going to spit out each of the individual frames.
Michael runs the video's metadata through a state-of-the-art software program designed to assess if the object is moving in a way consistent with its surroundings.
We know today's technology can do so much to manipulate video, so we're not stopping here. We're going to apply the most advanced software to really determine if in fact this is an unadulterated video.
So it's kind of performing a dissection or surgically pulling every single frame and determining how the pixels are behaving.
The software analyzes motion across each frame of video to create a visual map that will show any inconsistencies in the object's movement.
Motion vectors are those little arrows. They're going to tell us what that object is going to do in the way that it's predicting its next move.
The software assigns vectors, or arrows, to each pixel's movement and direction per frame of video.
Now, what's interesting to me is that this point where we can see the object traveling at a high rate of speed, this is essentially the last frame that we can see it. That object is blurred so far based on how fast it's moving, and these motion vectors are still predicting that it's traveling in this direction. There's a lot of detail in this that would be difficult to fabricate and fool the motion vectors into thinking that it's traveling in this direction.
So if this video was faked, what would you expect to see?
These vectors would be a little more sporadic. They wouldn't be so accurate. And I would say the slam dunk is that once the object is visually gone, there's still a bit of a motion trail.
And can we now rule out the fact that this could have been doctored?
Based on the testing that I've performed here, I would be confident in saying that this is an authentic representation of the events as they occurred.
Well, we've now applied multiple tests to this video, and Michael is able to conclude with a high degree of confidence that this hasn't been altered in any way, which now leaves the question, what is it? What are we looking at?
Can we do anything here now to better understand what is occurring?
Based on where it's coming from, we can estimate the speed that this object travels based on the time that this object showing on screen. We need to get a rough estimate of what this valley is in a minimum length to generate miles per second.
To determine the object's speed, the team maps out its perceived distance traveled.
From here to that edge, that is 2 miles.
And then divides that by the 2-second time span the object is visible.
And we're looking at, covering a distance of around 2 miles. And on screen, it was in the frame for 2 seconds. If an object is traveling 1 mile per second, that object is traveling 3,600 miles an hour.
In layman's terms, that thing is cranking. The camera barely caught it.
I'm impressed. This may be one of the most compelling videos of a UFO in existence. This whole time, I've been thinking of the Nimitz incident and what Kevin Day described. It's covering 2 miles in less than 2 seconds. That is faster than any conventional military aircraft that I'm aware of. Could this be a groundbreaking video of an actual extraterrestrial craft?
Well, let's not go too close.
Yeah. All right.
Paul and Kawa arrive at the home of someone said to be living in the path of the UFO in 2006, when it set off sensory alarms at 4 nuclear silos.
Hey there. Hey.
Hey, sir.
How are you guys?
How are you?
Good. Sorry to roll up on you unannounced. My name's Paul. Paul?
Kawa. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, we're actually out here tracking something strange. Back in 2006, there was an incident involving really some kind of UFO that tripped off some nuclear missile sensors.
Yeah. We're following a certain path that this object took.
Right.
Your farm is on that path, so we were just trying to stop by anybody and talk to anybody that might know or remember something.
Well, the only thing I remember probably about the time was we had a cow that was mutilated.
And this is in fall of 2006?
Yeah, I was driving around checking the cattle and saw a dead cow laying there, so went over and looked at it. And Right away you could see somebody cut a piece of their jaw out, and then their reproductive organs and their udder.
This is totally out of left field. I mean, we're here to see if someone can remember something strange from the fall of 2006, and suddenly we're talking about an animal mutilation?
Those cuts were so sharp, the hairs next to it were cut in half. No butcher I know of has a knife that sharp.
So they're definitely knife cuts and not like animal bites.
Absolutely not.
Was there anything else that was strange?
There was no blood at all, not a drop of blood anywhere.
Really? That doesn't make any sense.
There was no tracks, no vehicle tracks, anything around there.
Wow.
I gotta say, this is like one of the weirdest things I've ever heard.
I can take you up and show you where it was at, the site.
Well, yeah, we'd love to see it. Not only is this incident right on the trajectory of the tripped missile silos, it happened same time of year. So you have to ask yourself, is this unknown object responsible for the tripped silos and these mutilations?
Farmer Keith Vanderbos leads the team 3 miles south to the edge of his ranch where he found the cow mutilated in the fall of 2006.
So this is it?
So this is the spot. If you can see the second row of trees over there, that's where it happened.
Is there anything else weird about the site?
Well, the only thing weird is like she'd been dropped. There was an indentation under her body, probably 3-4 inches deep. And there was like a 60-foot circle around her that was hard as concrete.
So the earth has been altered somehow.
So something possibly could have been, you know, if we were talking...
exerting some kind of force.
Now, when the investigation happened, who was involved in it?
We just called the county sheriff and they sent a deputy out and he took a few pictures. If you guys want to go down to the sheriff's office, they've got pictures down there.
It's really disturbing, don't you think? If there is a connection, not only have these things been here, they have actually explored life on this planet. There are so many questions here, and the answers feel like they might be quite dark. I keep coming back to why this would be happening at all.
It's just so odd.
Following a lead on a 2006 UFO sighting in Great Falls, Montana, investigators Paul Beeben and Kawa Male uncover a pattern possibly linking UFOs to animal mutilations.
Hi, it's Paul and Kawa for Keith Wolverton and Pete Howard.
Okay, one moment, please.
Thanks. Thanks, man. Hey, Paul Beeben. Hey, Pete, how are you?
Kawa. Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Nice to meet you.
Well, thanks for making time for us, guys.
Thanks so much for...
The team meets with recently retired officers Keith Wolverton and Pete Howard, who were county sheriffs in the region for over 40 years.
With a local rancher who reported this animal mutilation, has no answers as to what or why this is happening. So we've got to talk to local law enforcement and try to get to the bottom of what's going on around here. We've spoken to a rancher who told us about a really bizarre animal mutilation incident, and they pointed us toward you guys. What do you know about all this?
People would call us about a strange light in the sky, so we thought, well, maybe the light's associated with the cows. All we've ever done is go out and patrol at night looking for people and chase lights at night.
What do you mean chase lights?
UFO sightings, and lots of them.
When these animal mutilations started and lights that you refer to them as,
yes,
did they start happening around the same time?
Yeah.
I believe there is a correlation between the lights and the cattle.
We go back 44 years ago is when Keith and I were in law enforcement and doing these investigations.
Till today.
You're saying that you've been tracking this for the past 40 years?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. 75, 6, 7 were the hot years, if you will. I recall that specifically. A rancher had crossed a small stream, had 8 or 10 head of yearling heifers over there, and here's one that's down. So he goes over and looks at it, and it's dead. Said he'd never seen anything like it in his life. From below the ear down to the lower jaw, that's all gone, then part of the ear. Reproductive organs had been removed. And the other thing that we saw, there wasn't any blood. Nothing spilled around it or on it.
This sounds like the same thing a rancher who is right on the flight path reported.
Somebody cut a piece of their jaw out, and then their reproductive organs and their udder.
So this is not just a one-off. There have been dozens of cases of these kinds of mutilations over the years. It's not a wild animal tearing these things apart.
No. We're always looking for evidence, and whatever it was not capable of making with today's technology.
Meaning what? They were
cut so fine.
So precise and...
Yeah.
Can you put a rough number on how many times this happened?
There may be as many 100 calls came into our office regarding this.
And these characteristics were always the same?
Yes.
So it's not one sicko doing this for years. It could be some kind of strange cult?
I don't think so. For somebody to get on somebody's ranch, a cult, a group of people, they're going to get detected.
So you never even had a suspect?
No.
No.
Never.
Never.
And you guys have been investigating these incidents for almost 50 years, and you still are no closer to an answer.
I don't know what it is, but it's not natural in our world.
So we have all these strange phenomena happening at great speeds.
And it's pointing us to cattle mutilations. Between Utah and Montana, there is something seriously bizarre going on in this region. I'm not the only one who thinks this is nuts, right? Cattle mutilations. If I have to think of one archetypical conspiracy theory about UFOs that you would discount out of hand, it would be cattle mutilations. But I promised this team that we would go where the data leads, and the data is leading us here. Seems crazy, but it definitely warrants a deeper look.
Let's at least test out, is there some kind of connection between mutilations and UFOs that might shed some other light on this? All right, so I'm gonna do a search for UFO, UAP, cattle animal mutilation. I'm gonna do this for a century across the United States.
Okay. Okay, so this is clearly not just confined to Montana or Utah. This is everywhere you could find cattle. Okay, what's this? 95% relevancy for an FBI report.
Pulling it up.
Okay, FBI joins investigation of animal mutilations linked to UFOs, starting back in 1976.
Over an estimated 1.28 million square mile area stretching from Tennessee to Oregon.
This is the same kind of stuff that we were seeing from our reports in Montana, right? The blood and certain parts of the animals, usually the reproductive organs, are removed.
The Justice Department authorized the FBI office in Albuquerque to become involved in the investigation.
On the advice of Senator Harrison Schmitt, a Republican from New Mexico, an ex-astronaut and scientist.
The fact that you're getting this degree of fear means this is something they've never seen before.
Right, let's see what else we've uncovered.
Okay, what's this? We have an FBI report on animal and cattle mutilation linked to UFOs. Can you scroll down a little? All right, so this is a letter from the senator to the FBI. For several months, my office has been receiving reports of cattle mutilations throughout Colorado and western states. At least 130 cases in Colorado alone. The incidents have occurred for the last 2 years in 9 states. Must be taken seriously. Floyd K. Haskell, this is a different senator, the second U.S. senator. 1979, Griffin B. Bell, this is an FBI employee. The materials sent me indicate the existence of one of the strangest phenomenons in my memory. Now we have cattle mutilations, attacks which have been linked to UFOs, not just in Montana, but across the entire United States. And it's not just a local concern. We have state agencies, we have senators rattled enough to plead with the Department of Justice and get the FBI involved. And the FBI does get involved.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
People are clearly really freaked out about this connection between this and UFO sightings.
And we have an investigation open. What else do we have?
Mutilations have also been reported outside the United States in the UK, Canada, and South America.
Does that potentially mean this is a bigger phenomenon than just the United States?
Let's see if there is something bigger at work here that crosses the globe.
Let's do it.
The team expands their search on the link analysis software, making it worldwide rather than just focused on the United States.
Okay, 192 hits. This is not confined to the United States. This is a map of a global phenomenon, clearly.
Absolutely.
What's this first one? More animals mutilated at local shelter? An animal shelter of rural Paraguay endured another vicious attack of one of its animals yesterday. 4 animals are killed mysteriously overnight. Locals are attributing the attack to another strange event, an unidentified flying object that they can't explain. And they have the same type of wounds, 2 deep holes in the neck, genitals removed, and the blood entirely drained. This article is describing exactly what we saw in Montana. Multiple witnesses call the police, report seeing a UFO moving at an incredible rate of speed before touching down 100 meters from the town.
This is a perfect opportunity for us to get a field team on the ground in Paraguay to see what it is that they found.
I really want to send Nick and Paul. Nick's a Marine intelligence officer with experience interviewing witnesses in harsh environments. Paul is an investigative journalist with experience getting to the bottom of tough stories. Let's put both of them together as a field team and get them on the ground in Paraguay and see what they can find.
If it turns out that this pattern of animal mutilations is not just some isolated incident that can be explained by local circumstances, right? If it's being repeated around the world, it's on a different level.
Yeah.
U.S. Marine Intelligence Officer Nick Carnesi and investigative reporter Paul Beeben are on the ground in Peruíbe, Brazil, investigating UFO sightings in the area.
We need more details about what happened here. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some good eyewitness descriptions.
Together with their translator Eduardo Braga, the team meets with Marco Leal, a local journalist who's familiar with the case.
Animal attacks in the town of Peruíbe have striking similarities to the animal mutilations we're investigating in the States.
Marco, we're following up on this pattern of animal attacks that correlate with UFO sightings. We first saw them in the U.S. What do you know about what happened in Peruíbe back in 2008?
There was a UFO sighting. Somebody saw this big light on top of the grass. The following day, the grass was kind of laid down and the tips were burned. This is what happened to the grass.
Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, so you get a guy in ready for scale. That's really big.
The fact that there were UFO sightings so close to where these animal mutilations occurred and within such a small time window, it has to be connected.
Que houve, foram 4 animais que foram atacados estranhamente. Foi caso que foi realmente furo específico, retirado sangue e as genitálias. Eu posso mostrar para vocês, eu trouxe umas fotos aqui, ok?
He has some pictures.
Esse aqui foi uma das perfurações que foi feita.
That's the puncture wound.
That's one of the puncture wounds.
Wow.
The owner called veterinarians and biologists to try to find out what it was. They can tell that there's some intelligence involved. It couldn't have been just an animal biting things off, you know.
With an animal attack, it would be a bloody mess.
And also, when the whole thing happened, there was complete silence. No dogs were barking, no noise that could, warn people that this was happening. So this is really weird.
The animals in Peruíbe are showing evidence of the same kind of attacks like what we saw in Montana. And you have to ask yourself, was the same thing responsible for these injuries? Has anything else like this ever happened in Brazil? I mean, anything else that you know about?
No ano de 1977, onde as vítimas não eram animais, e sim ataque a humanos.
You're saying people were attacked? Like, what kind of attacks?
There were flying objects that released beams of light that would hit people on the neck, on the chests, and also sometimes on the legs and arms.
And people?
People, actual people.
Okay.
Investigar e conversar com as vítimas que foram atacados por essa luz.
If you guys go there, you can probably find some victims, some that are still alive.
Survivors.
Survivors, yes.
The fact that we're now talking about a UFO encounter that involves human beings, people as victims, not animals, this is massive.
Vocês podem ir que vocês vão se surpreenderem.
Okay, he seems pretty confident. All right, I pulled up Colares, and there are some hits here. I mean, as crazy as this story sounds, Really? There's some stuff coming up. In 1977, we're visited by flying objects of an unknown nature. There's some bits and pieces here, but somehow that didn't go international. I don't know what to make of it.
Let me see where this place is. It's an island. It's an island in the Amazon.
Oh, wow.
There are no major roads. I can't even see a road going in there.
So it's completely isolated.
So I'm not even seeing any real bridges crossing the river that's separating it from the mainland.
I mean, this place is still isolated now. Imagine what it was like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the middle of nowhere in the Amazon. I mean, if there's any truth to any of this, this is going to be something that I would think people are still talking about, still vivid for them today. Right? Having an eyewitness is absolutely critical. I want to hear from eyewitnesses and survivors of this incident. This could be huge.
There is nothing out here.
Yeah. Looks like we're coming up to the river.
There we go.
Nick and Paul arrive at the edge of the Amazon River, separating mainland Brazil from the island of Colares, the site of an alleged UFO attack on humans in 1977.
This is all very remote.
If something ever happened out here, outside world's not really going to hear about it.
No. We came to Brazil investigating unexplained animal mutilations in conjunction with UFO sightings. Now we're hearing reports that humans might have been attacked. If the witnesses or victims are still alive, we need to locate them. And in a town like this, the best place to start is talking with the locals.
If this is town hall, tomorrow you miss a pound. Give that a shot.
The team heads to the Colares Town Hall in search of local testimony or record, pointing to witnesses of the alleged 1977 UFO attack.
Oba.
Oi. What you got? Sorry to bother you. Do you have a minute?
Você pode falar minutinho com a gente?
Posso sim.
Okay, very good. Hey, Paul.
Prazer, vereador Robson.
The team meets with Mr. Romulo Robson de Oliveira, one of Colares' active councilmen.
We've heard about this strange incident in 1977, almost an attack on this town with multiple victims. And we're just wondering if you knew anything about it.
Sim, conheço sim. Bem visto na cidade, as pessoas não gostam de falar, mas eu tenho sim informação sobre isso.
People in town don't feel too comfortable talking about it, but yeah, he can help us fill in some blanks.
Okay, all right.
No ano de 1977, a cidade de Colares ela foi tomada por um pânico muito grande. As pessoas elas não conseguiam mais estar nas suas residências, elas não conseguiam mais viver uma vida normal por consequência de luzes que apareciam. Atravessava a telha ou a parede.
People got really panicked and it affected most of the people in town.
Really?
Yeah, everybody witnessed it, so it was like this huge deal for the people in town.
Eram mais ou menos 6.000 habitantes. Eu acredito que grande parte da população ela sofreu com esse mal, né?
The city councilman's reaction was uncomfortable, and we don't know if that was out of fear or who knows. But we need to figure out what actually happened, because at this point we have very little information aside from a lot of people were attacked.
I wanted to ask you if you have a second about strange things that happened here in Colares back in the 70s.
He knows nothing about it and he's late for work.
Okay.
Didn't seem to want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
interesting.
Tem nada, não.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about
No.
it? Something happened. I can tell from people's reaction, but they just don't seem to want to talk. The question is why? I don't know if it's fear or just discomfort about what happened. Everyone's kind of closing their doors when they see it. But that makes me want to know even more. What really happened here? Why are these people so wary? We're curious, do you know anything about what happened here in Colares back in the 70s?
Okay, so he's saying that there's this guy, Newton, and he was attacked. So this is probably the guy you should look for.
Newton.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he know where he lives?
He does.
Ele mora do outro lado da cidade.
Obrigado.
So far, it's only been fringe reporting, some second, third-hand accounts, but now we have an eyewitness, we have his address, we're gonna go talk to him. And this is of huge importance because up until this point, it's all been hearsay. Now we have someone who's actually there on the ground while it happened.
I really want to know what went down. The key, obviously, is going to be to get this guy to open up to us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Looks like his house right there.
All right.
person right there.
Tarja.
Sir, we heard about a very strange incident here in Colares back in the 1970s, and we heard that you were involved. Could you tell us about what happened?
Eles estão investigando incidente que aconteceu aqui em 77. Acho que o senhor estava envolvido também. He's a little hesitant.
We were very interested in your story. I know we showed up a bit unannounced on you.
Vou contar.
Okay.
He's okay to tell us?
Yeah, he says
great.
he's okay. He's a little hesitant, but yeah.
Okay, great. We've heard a lot about a really, frankly, bizarre incident back in 1977. What happened? Take it from the beginning.
Isso foi em 1977 que aconteceu em Colares.
He went out to fish one night. He came back from fishing to this house, and he was sleeping. It was around 1 a.m., and he woke up and he saw the light aiming to his leg.
Really?
And he felt 3 stings here.
What did you do when you felt it?
First, he wasn't able to move or to react. He was paralyzed. 15 minutes later, he started crying for help. And he yelled to his girlfriend, "What happened? What happened?" The lights just disappeared. And she said, "You were attacked by an object in the sky that sent down a beam of light."
Can you tell us more about what you saw in terms of the lights?
De lá, circulando na cidade aqui.
They always came from the same direction, from a beach, and then they kept circling around town. And it was really fast, but it happened many times at night.
What did you think it was? What did you think was happening?
Eu não sei. Não sei.
He had no idea.
The UFO attacks began that night. How long did it last? Did it continue?
The UFOs were spotted for 6 months after he was attacked.
Oh, wow.
There were dozens of victims at the time. He was one of many.
We thought it was just one night.
Every night, around 6 or 7 p.m., the lights would attack.
Every night?
Every night. So everybody was really like panicked. They would take their guns and they would try shooting at the lights. They didn't know what to do because they didn't know what they were up against.
A doutora, ela dava o trabalho dela aqui em Colares. Trabalhava aqui. Ela remitia. Mas muita gente não foram. Porque eu tô lembrado que ela me mandou para lá.
There was one doctor here who saw all the victims of these attacks.
Yeah.
Something terrifying and totally unknown happened. The question is, was it actually a UFO that was shining a beam of light on him and other people in the town? Or was it something much more explainable? Did the attacks, did they just end all of a sudden and the lights were gone?
He says it stopped when the military came.
Really?
Wait, so the military showed up?
Sim.
He says that the army has it all registered and then they know exactly what happened, but they keep it to themselves. They called it Operation Plate.
The deeper we get into this story, the crazier it gets. You know, now we have the Brazilian military involved. What was going on out there? Was the military there to protect these people or to hide something from them?
Next time on the Contact season finale.
Military shows up, takes over the whole island.
What was Operation Plate?
Robert Bigelow bought all of the files of this incident from the Brazilian government.
We know that name.
Why is Robert Bigelow, a contractor to NASA, an ATIP, buying up highly classified Colares files? If Bigelow can get these files, so can we.
He saw it dive deep into the water.
Really?
The UFOs haven't been just over the land, they've been going in and out of the water. This is much bigger than we ever thought it was.
Strange objects lurking in the oceans, emitting strange sounds, able to move at gigantic speeds. Nobody has capabilities like that. Our nations, our governments are very concerned, and we should be as well.